What's going on, guys? I am here with Will from Light Touch Media Group, who closed 69K in one day. And obviously, it took time to get to this point. But Will, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah, not unhappy. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was going to say,
yeah.
I love it. You mind just, for anybody who doesn't know you, do you mind just giving us a little bit of background on kind of you, your company, what led to this point, and then we can kind of go from there?
Yeah, it's an interesting story, and I'm the first person who will just be upfront honest about things because I think that's helpful to other
Of
business
course.
owners and entrepreneurs. And so I've been doing the kind of work that I'm doing. I own a creative agency, so I've been doing that kind of work for 17 years. This is my second agency. I've made the Inc. 5000 list 6 times at 2 different companies. I've won tons of industry awards. We've worked with Fortune 50 companies, household name companies. And I've had a really interesting, fun career and have done a lot of interesting, fun projects. And for about 15 years, I was doing sort of the same stuff and it worked and it worked well. And I just was getting a little too complacent, I think, in hindsight. And then about 2 years ago, the things that we had been doing to generate new business stopped working. AI just set off this nuclear bomb in the middle of our industry, as anybody who does what we do knows. And it still hasn't settled out, right? And I don't know that it's going to. The analogy I keep giving people, it's like if you were around for the first 10 years of the Industrial Revolution, you didn't know that. It wasn't called the Industrial Revolution, it was just called today and next
Yep.
week, right? But it was incredibly disruptive. And on
Yeah.
the other side of that, the whole world changed. I think most people would argue for the better in terms of being more productive and things like that. And I think we're entering a golden age for creative work for production. I think 10 years from now, when this is kind of settled out into the new economy, there are going to be a lot of really great things that come as a result of that. But right now, in the last couple of years, it's been really disruptive and challenging for a lot of people. And so
Yeah.
my agency went through a lot of that. And so for different reasons, we were going to different vendors and looking for help that we had never needed before. And I was really scrambling. It takes a while. If you're doing really well, it's like a slow motion car crash, right? It
Yeah.
takes a long time to not be doing very well. So by the time I found you, I was not doing well. And you were, I think, literally maybe the fifth, maybe even the sixth vendor that I talked to in 2 years. I had
Oh,
spent
wow.
tens of thousands of dollars on all these different solutions and just nothing was working. It was just driving me absolutely crazy
Yeah.
because it's not like it was a new bright idea I'd had that I didn't have any success with. Then 8,000 projects, right? Like I know
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, you do.
And you were honestly the first person that I've dealt with who had the combination of personal care and actual know-how and expertise. And you didn't give up on the process, and you really went above and beyond
I appreciate that.
in a way that literally no other vendor was willing to do. Right? I dealt with a lot of people who had a great sales pitch, who seemed like they knew what they were doing, who had some statistics to back up, some success stories and things like that.
Yeah.
But you've really been the first person who really stepped up. And at one point, I think you basically said, like, look, we tried this thing, it's not working. I like you, you're a good guy. So you work hard, you're smart. I see that you're good at this. I really want to help you. What do you think about pivoting and going
Yeah.
after this new vertical in a
Yeah.
new way? And honestly, if you had talked to me 2 years earlier, I would have said, no, man, I do what
No,
I
don't
do
do
and I
that.
don't
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. But I think fool me once, shame on me, fool me 5 times, I'm an idiot, right? And so it was sort of the same. What is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same
Doing
thing
the
over and
same
over
thing
again.
over and over again.
So I
Yeah.
finally was sort of ruined enough professionally to be like, all right, yeah, I'm game to try. And we did the work exactly per the program. You guys were there to side check and give feedback at each stage. And it just started working. I could see
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah,
there's
it's literally just the beginning because we had this big day. It was yesterday, I
yeah,
believe, 69K of contracts in a day, right? And that's
yeah, yeah.
literally just the start. I would say it's like the validation of the
Yeah.
process. It has worked, right? It's working. I know people on your team are getting used to the process. We're acclimating it because, and I'm not going to go too deep into anything here, but like, I guess it might be helpful for people who are in your same situation where they're maybe dealing with, because you dealt with what, Fortune 500, Fortune 50, like large companies. doing their media, and now we're kind of making a pivot towards more of an SMB type route, right? Without giving it all away.
Yeah.
I guess like what has been different in that process that I feel like would be helpful for people coming from the same world as you, if they're watching this and they're like, oh, I'm going to go to SMBs. Like, what do you feel like is there's a lot of differences, but like, what do you feel like is kind of different within that?
Yeah, like you said, there are more differences than I realized.
Yeah.
So I was used to dealing with like a marketing director or above at like $100 million per year US companies, right?
Yeah.
That's a very particular sort of conversation and point of view. It's not their money. Typically, they have budgets and they got to stick within budget constraints, but it's not personal to them, right?
Yeah.
At all. So they're there to do a job and you're there as a vendor. And there are a lot of things I really loved about it. We still do some of that work for a few key clients that we've had for
Yeah.
years, and I still enjoy that work. It's fun. It's interesting. I
Yeah.
learned a lot doing it. But it's not personal and it's not emotional typically at all. When you're dealing with small business owners, this is their baby. It's everything to them. And interestingly, I'm used to working with professional marketers. We're sort of an extension of an in-house team, which is sometimes like a 50-person agency, right?
Yeah.
And with this, most business owners don't want to deal with this. Occasionally, maybe 10% enjoy it, find it interesting. They're looking to maybe establish like a professional voice online. They want to be an influencer to some
Yep.
degree.
Yep.
But most people are like, man, can you just wave a magic wand and solve this for me? Because I know I
Yeah.
got to do this. Yeah, am I going to have to do the TikTok dance stuff? I'm like, no, that's not what we do around here, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's been a very emotional sale. Also, all of your sales training. I remember when I first signed up, you're like, we have all the sales training. I was like, I don't need that,
I
dude.
don't
Hold
need
my
that.
beer. Like, I'm totally fine on this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've done a lot of sales, but I
Yeah.
have found it's very, very different.
It's different sales. Yeah.
It's more old school traditional sales. It's more like business consumer sales, which
Yeah.
I'm actually really enjoying. And your
Yeah.
training has been very, very helpful. And so I
I
had
bet.
it's been 2 years of eating humble pie daily, like sort of like, okay, I think I know some stuff and I do know stuff. Being
Yeah.
willing to pivot and make changes and be a student again. And I
Yeah.
think sort of the silver line to all this is that I got to be an entrepreneur again at a level I wasn't expecting in terms of
Yeah.
I basically built a new business within sort of the ashes of my old business, and I enjoy this. I do like
Yeah,
it.
it's different, right? It's just I think the key thing there I'm picking up on is like it's you have to be willing to adapt. And I think a lot of people are like some people are not willing to adapt and then that's where they run into some issues. But kudos to you to where it's like you're willing to adapt and make changes and try new things. And like I think the landscape for video agencies is always changing. And for
Mhm.
now, it's like it is changing and shifting towards a lot of these SMBs that need content ongoing. And
Yeah.
it's just a different sale, right? But you have to adapt to that, make changes, and then if you can do that, then you're able to pivot and make those changes in the face of AI or other types of kind of challenges that get thrown towards our industry.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
that's the other thing I would say about the pivot. All the stress, what was happening slowly over time, it was like death by a thousand paper cuts
Yeah.
because AI was getting smarter. Well, it's sort of there's a few layers to it. The first thing is the hype around AI is ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so even like 2 years ago, when it was not even remotely what it is right now, the people that we worked with knew that wasn't true. Like, but the boss's boss at this Fortune 500 company, who's pretty high up there, was
Yeah.
like, "You should just get AI to do that, right?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Okay, boss, sounds good." And
Good
they're
luck
in
with
the
that.
middle of that curve of trying to do that, and it doesn't work, and it's a disaster or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had to worry about sort of the stress of this, like the robots are coming for our jobs,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yep.
all I was doing primarily was content creation. I wasn't involved typically in the ad buying and seeing results in the real world. We just sort of passed the baton, like, here's this really well done thought leadership series we created for you. It's
Yeah.
your job to go do things with it. Now we get to run the whole thing, which I
Yeah.
actually really enjoy. I love helping people and I love being smart about it. And so, again, just the willingness to pivot, I think, is just so vital because God knows 5 years from now, it's going to completely shift again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now I get to take advantage of all that AI is offering instead of like, I made the decision there is a tsunami coming and I can either get crushed by it and destroyed by it, or I can learn to surf the wave. right?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. And with the help of the program,
Yeah. Well, and
it's
you guys, I want to give major kudos to you and your team because I mean, we work with you. You guys execute. We get these things changed, made, like, and I think that's where a lot of the speed of implementation comes from, where we're making those changes quickly and we're able to adapt, which is huge. Kind of a weird question, but I guess like, where do you feel like you might have been if you hadn't obviously taken the leap? Join the program because you had been burned before by other programs, right? And other people and other service providers. Like, a lot of people I think at that point would be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Like
Mhm.
everything is just not working. Like what kind of made you be like, hey, let's take another chance. Let's try.
I think having had my back up against the wall, I was saying to my wife, she's like long suffering poor woman. She's a filmmaker. She makes movies. Like she's
Oh wow.
incredibly talented.
She's cooler than all of us. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I love
And
it.
just sees me, Forrest Gumping my way through my whole career trying to figure stuff out. And for better or for worse, I do my best work without a net when my back is up against the wall and there's like if you need the shot made and there's 3 seconds on the clock for whatever reason, that's when that I find that extra gear and I get it done. I'm
Yep.
trying not to operate like that going forward.
Yep.
I'd like a little more stability.
That's what we're
But
working on.
I've hit rock bottom a few times professionally, and it's sort of like you find out what you're made of. And you
Yeah.
also realize like the sun comes up the next day and it's not nuclear war. It's like life goes
Yeah.
on. You're not quite as important as you think you are, right? In the
Yeah.
grand scheme of
I
things.
agree.
And so you can just relax, you breathe, and just say, okay, what am I going to do to fix it? Like that's
Yeah.
that's my only option here. I'm not going to go live in a refrigerator box. So let's
Yeah,
get it done.
just solving problems, making changes.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed our conversation. Last question. I guess if anyone is maybe in the same situation as you, they're contemplating even just booking a call with us, talking with us, seeing if it's a fit for them. I guess based on your experience, what kind of advice would you give them knowing what you know now?
I think it's okay to be uncomfortable and frustrated and scared,
Yeah.
honestly. I was unbelievably stressed when I signed up for the program, feeling like the other short answer to your question is I probably would have been declaring bankruptcy now.
Oh
Just
wow.
and that's not the end of the story. It's a very
Yeah.
unpleasant transition, right? That doesn't mean I'm giving up on my life, but my business was crashing and it was at the point where it was on its last legs and something had to fundamentally change. And so I would just say like you don't have to love being in the position that you're in if you're making a transition or if you're brand new, that's a much happier, more fun story. And either way the answer is sort of the same is that you guys provide a genuine framework. The coursework and everything that you provide it really is step by step. It's like cooking instructions for idiots. It's like ordering food services where they give you all the ingredients and the instructions. It's like if you can boil water, you can learn how to actually cook good food, right? With you guys, it's the same thing. And there really is a culture of care with your program that's genuine, right? You guys really enjoy seeing people win, and you're very good at what you do. I'll say that too.
I
I think a
appreciate it.
lot of other programs I've seen, people have figured out the algorithm in terms of showing up on your feed, in terms of they hook you immediately, the right sales pitch. They know how to sell on social media, but have they actually solved those problems in the real world? Do they have hundreds of happy clients who've succeeded with their work, with their program? I don't know. That was not my experience with anybody else. So I would say it's a leap of faith and it can be uncomfortable and a little scary,
Yep.
and that's okay. Like this is worth the leap. You know what I mean? You guys you're the first vendor we worked with who delivered on your promises. Bottom line, right?
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. It is very fulfilling to just hear that, right? Because like that's why we do what we do. We really appreciate you guys, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve you guys as well and help you guys get to where you want to go. And like I said, this is literally just the beginning. We've just validated the concept by closing 69K in contracts in a day, and now we're just going to keep going on and on and on and onward and upward from here. So, Will, I appreciate your time, and we'll do another one of these when we're even higher, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah.